Not suspicious. Not suspicious. Not suspicious. Not suspicious.
Ah.
Not suspicious. Suspicious.
Ah.
Ah. Oh?
Not suspicious. Not suspicious. Suspicious! Not suspicious. Not suspicious. What's a famous guy like you doing in a place like this?
Quite. I'm sure you're thinking, why doesn't he send an assistant? But that's not the way this director works.
But what are you doing?
I'm feeling, I'm experiencing, I'm discovering. This area, the history, the atmosphere, it's the perfect setting for my next film. I'm on a scouting mission to get to know this swamp before I begin work on the latest masterpiece in a string of masterpieces.
You're making a movie about Boggy? About the swamp creature?
Of course. He's a fascinating individual, isn't he? So mysterious.
No idea. I haven't met him yet. Is that your cameraman over there?
Yes, that's right. Bobby Burl, my faithful right-hand man. Well, faithful enough, you know.
No, I don't know.
He's an expert cameraman. Really knows his trade, of course. But he gets a bit muddled when it comes to priorities.
Like how? You mean he's lazy? He doesn't look lazy. He looks a bit scary.
Oh no, nothing of the sort. He just has a little hobby that sometimes distracts him from his work. But I wouldn't want anyone else shooting for me.
Were you working yesterday? Here in the swamp, I mean?
Indeed I was working. Very hard indeed. Well into the night.
Hard work, is it? Getting to know the swamp?
You jest. But yesterday I was getting even more involved than usual. Yes, difficult to comprehend, I know.
So what kind of work were you doing?
Well, I was, unable to find my faithful cameraman last night. He had hidden himself quite completely from view.
Bobby Burl, right? Did you need him to film for you?
Always. But being a resourceful type of man, I stepped up and took on the responsibility myself. I was filming in this exact area, in fact.
You were filming? Last night? Here?
Yes, at the time of the murder, I believe. But wait, I know what you're thinking. Now, don't forget, I'm not here to shoot some experimental documentary. I have no interest in late-night surveillance footage.
Did you see anything at all? What is it you were filming?
The water. I was filming the water. It's a fascinating subject, one that has me captivated to the point where
So, you didn't see anything useful? Got excited there for a minute.
Nothing useful to you, my good detective. but there are some odd sounds on the audio track. Nothing but wild animals going about their nighttime rituals, I'm sure.
Is there something I should ask the cameraman? Burrow's camera lied to me because my lost hat was the murderer. No. Vincent Vanderpeer doesn't explain why Bobby Burrow was nowhere to be found last night. Ooh, that's nearly right. Vincent Vanderpeer doesn't explain why Burrow's camera was nowhere to be found last night. Oh, that doesn't make sense, does it? Maybe Bobby Burrow needs to do a little explaining. Bobby Burrow doesn't explain why Vincent Vanderpeer was nowhere to be found last night. Bobby Burrow lied to me because Vincent Vanderpeer came to the swamp in the first place. I'm losing my mind here. Bobby Burrow was one of the reasons Vincent Vanderpeer came to the swamp in the first place. What is that supposed to mean? Vanderpeer told me something about his cameraman. Vincent Vanderpeer was one of the reasons Bobby Burrow was nowhere to be found last night. Maybe I just need to change one thing. Vincent Vanderpeer doesn't explain why Bobby Burrow was nowhere to be found last night. Ooh, that's nearly right. Bobby Burrow doesn't explain why Vincent Vanderpeer was nowhere to be found last night. What is that? Vincent Vanderpeer told me that Bobby Burrow was nowhere to be found last night. Simple enough. What was Mr. Burrow doing last night that meant he couldn't help out his boss? Oh?
Ah! Back so soon, Grimoire? What's troubling you?
I'm...
Yeah, but you won't...
The water is black and...
Hey. They're mine, but I left them here last night. Now they're covered in slime, and I don't want to go near them. I have no idea. I can draw way better than that.
Can you show me?
There's no time. Maybe in the sequel.
It was Mr. Remington's favorite food. That strange green powder isn't supposed to be there. Why don't you show that to someone else? It's the most popular drink that I sell. In fact, a lot of it has disappeared from my stocks recently.
Someone, please. Well, the lights are on. Maybe somebody's home.
Show it to someone who doesn't live in a tree.
Oh?
I heard from Mr. Vanderpure over there that you were nowhere to be found last night.
Didn't I say I was at the cafe?
Yeah, you did. But your director needed you for some filming, and he couldn't find you. What were you doing that was so important?
Well, let's see. After I ate, I had a walk around the swamp. I didn't have my camera, so I was free to stretch my legs for once.
Where was your camera? Don't you carry it around with you all the time?
No, not all the time.
You left it with Vanderpure, and he used it instead that night.
That's right, he was looking after that camera. So I went for a late-night stroll. This place is beautiful in the evenings.
You just walked around? You didn't do anything? Didn't see anyone?
Well, I can't say that. I have various ways to pass the time, you know.
Vanderpure said you had a hobby on the side.
Is that what he said? Well, yes, he's right. I brought 2 cameras with me when I came here. I left my video camera, yes, but I have another one. It's much smaller, and it only takes black and white photographs. You know the kind I mean?
A really old one?
Yes, I suppose so. I've always enjoyed traditional photography, and this place is a wonderful opportunity to take some pictures of a natural environment.
So, you were having some time off to take black and white photographs? For fun?
Only one photograph. You have to be disciplined when you're not using a digital camera.
Can I see it?
Of course. I took it near the woods at the back of the swamp. It's quite an interesting shot, but the light qualities weren't perfect.
Here we are. Feel free to take a look.
Wait, what? This is a photo?
I haven't developed it yet. I only took it last night. Just brush the developing fluid over the photo to reveal the image.
The swamp creature just standing in the water?
It could be. Personally, I'm not convinced, but I'll let you decide for yourself.
Are we really talking about a swamp creature here? The costume design I found in the trash can explains what Burrow's black and white photo is showing me. My detective's intuition is kicking in. That black and white photograph. I'm not sure I'm looking at the real Boggy here, and I think these designs I found in the trash can might be the answer. I'll ask around, see if anybody knows anything about this. Oh, and I should start looking for the costume itself. If I can find that, there'll be some pretty impressive evidence.
I have something for you.
Another gift already. Where are you keeping all this stuff? You don't even have pockets in that dress.
I don't need a pocket to carry a key.
What key?
I don't know. You could try it on any door you like. Although, I recommend you try it on that office door.
Remington's office?
Mm-hmm.
Even though I have the key, this might not be as simple as I'd hoped. This door has 2 keyholes. So, which key should I use in each one? Remington's desk is covered in drawings and maps and notes. It's all about Boggy. He was obsessed. An ink bottle was spilled into his work. I'm sure he didn't do that on purpose. Yeesh, it's a bit of a mess. Perhaps there's something underneath those drawings. It's a letter Remington was writing before something caused him to spill his ink bottle. My dear fellow, I received your note 2 weeks ago, but have only recently found the time to do the appropriate research on the matter. I feel like my time in this awful swamp might finally come to a close. All due to the simple realization, the rest is obscured. What a tease. An old hunting rifle, discarded carelessly near the window. This isn't the kind of thing I can ignore. Photos and paintings line the wall above the fireplace, but one of the frames is empty. Wait a second. What are these pieces on the floor underneath it? This photo is ripped, but it looks important. If I can piece it together again, maybe it'll reveal a secret. This photograph, it's a young Remington, and some other men I don't know. They're all holding rifles. Maybe I can ask Harper about it. The open window looks over the wooden planks outside. Oh, and on one side, a part of the curtain has been ripped off. I probably shouldn't leave until I've searched a bit more thoroughly. This is the creepiest office I've ever been in. Ever. It's a sharp metal poker for a fireplace, hidden in the shadows. Something about those three prongs. I feel like I just stumbled across an incredibly important piece of evidence. Have I uncovered a secret in here? The hunting photo is historical evidence that Richard Remington belonged to a secret society. I'm getting a strong feeling that Remington might be the bad guy in this story. If he wasn't already dead, I would have loved to ask him a couple of questions. I should ask around, see if I can gather any information about his motives for being here.
Someone made a costume to look like the creature. They must have known it would get a reaction for sure, but I wonder if they planned things to go this far.
When you're finished theorizing, I was going to show you these sketches I found in a trash can right next to your cafe.
It does seem like someone was designing a costume. A disguise, perhaps.
I don't know.
Try to think why somebody would do such a thing.
I don't know.
What could they achieve with it?
I don't know.
Not yet.
You said you knew Remington?
He and I knew each other for a long time. I came to work at his tourist attraction in the early days, when he needed help.
Well, what kept you here?
I know most people wouldn't want to work in a place like this. I actually like it here, so I was happy to oblige.
You might like it, but I still don't see why anyone would build a tourist attraction here.
Mr. Remington has his reasons. He probably had several. I don't presume to know what they all were. Even though we were friends, he had some secrets, some hobbies, that I was happy to let him keep secret.
Secrets? Hobbies? A secret hobby?
He was a man with a dream, I can tell you that much.
What can you tell me about these designs for a boggy costume?
Nothing whatsoever.
You're sure you didn't see anything like this while you were filming yesterday? Wait, hold on a minute. What if
Don't you dare ask.
This costume isn't your doing, is it? Made for your movie, I mean?
My friend, there will be no costumed idiots within the viewfinder of my camera. I can assure you that.
What about your Boggy movie? Isn't that gonna be, like, a guy in a costume, or a puppet, or one of those weird robot things?
Technology has been kind to people like me. We no longer have any need for such tomfoolery. I can create a perfectly believable swamp creature within the confines of a computer. Much cheaper, too.
Huh. I suppose you've met with our murder victim, Richard Remington.
Yes, I've been in and out of this place for a while now. Naturally, I've crossed paths with Remington a number of times. Good value, that one. A real raconteur, you know.
You liked him? So far, I'm getting the impression he wasn't the most popular guy around here.
Well, that much is clear, isn't it? The man obviously slipped up somewhere, made an enemy or two, and bam, that's that. You just can't be too careful, can you?
Yeah, I think he did have an enemy or two. Or three. But you liked him.
I respected him. Good head on his shoulders. Good business sense, that man. He understood how to make things work for him.
I heard this isn't the first time you've tried to film here.
Where? In the swamp? What are you talking about?
Remington has denied you the filming permission in the past.
Oh, that? Nothing but the natural process of being in a profession like mine. Every situation simply requires the right approach before the gears start turning smoothly. You understand, I'm sure.
Why did Remington not want you filming here? And why did he change his mind?
It wasn't even up to him. This area is protected, you know. There are certain rules, certain regulations. I encounter this kind of thing all the time, really.
That doesn't explain why he changed his tune. It's a little suspicious.
Why would you say that?
A famous movie director suddenly gets his way? I wonder how that happened. Time to use my notebook. Just drag an item onto the paper to draw the idea. That can't be it. Right, that's the one. I think you bribed Remington to get the filming rights.
Well, bribe is a strong word. It was just a little arrangement between friends. Nothing worth getting upset about. I simply promised him a cut of my next movie's profits. It made sense, since he owned the area anyway. Just a favor for a favor.
So you would have owed him money?
Only a small percentage, simply out of courtesy. And not for a long time, either.
I found these designs for a Boggy costume. Do you know anything about them?
You're asking me because you can tell I'm experienced with needlecraft and sew my own clothes?
No, but that's a good reason. Let's go with that.
Well, these designs look like they should have stayed where they were.
In the trash?
On paper.
Oh, how come?
Whoever drew them didn't really know what they were doing.
You would have done it differently?
Of course. I am a seamstress. There was a time when I considered sewing my craft, my livelihood.
Really?
When Richard Remington arrived in the swamp years ago, I offered him some of my handmade fabric as a peace offering. I don't think he cared much for it. Most likely he threw it away. A pointless gift from some strange woman.
You've been here so long, you must have crossed paths with Remington a few times. What did you think of him?
That man was a threat to the swamp. We'll be better off without him. Hopefully the curtain will fall on his little tourist attraction as well.
Better off? With a killer on the loose now?
There have been murderers loose in the swamp before.
What are you talking about?
In my time here, I've seen the swamp invaded by men. By hunters. Several times. They're relentless.
What were they hunting? Wait, what about Boggy? Is that why no one has seen him in 60 years?
They always fell short of their ultimate goal. That just meant they came back again and again, doing more harm each time.
But this area is protected by law, right?
It is now, but some men have no respect for laws, of any kind. They tried to get me to leave my home here. I stood my ground.
Obviously. But this whole area is a tourist attraction now. I doubt Remington would have allowed anyone to march into Boggy's Bog with a gun and start hunting down his main attraction. Models of Boggy's Claws. Hold on. What's this? Something doesn't seem right here.
So,
I found these designs for a Boggy costume.
oh, some ridiculous new merchandise for tourists to waste their money on.
No, I believe the murderer was dressed like this last night when they attacked Remington.
If they were trying to scare him out of the swamp, they should have spent more time making an accurate design.
What do you mean?
Well, this design is some bizarre hybrid between the real creature and the cartoon character. It simply hasn't been researched properly.
What's wrong with it?
Well, those flippers? Pure guesswork. Nothing but foolish imagination. Nobody knows what Boggy's feet look like. No footprint has ever been recorded.
So tell me, Special Agent Folder, how would you do a better job researching it if nothing has ever been recorded?
Oh, well, that's, it's all a matter of taking the time to... It's just that... But there's no way anyone would believe... Nothing but foolishness.
What can you tell me about your relationship with Richard Remington?
We didn't really have one, and now we definitely don't have one. But look, all I can say is that he was a coward who enjoyed watering down history for his own benefit.
What does that mean?
It means there are some chapters of this swamp's history that he never wanted anyone to know about.
Did he like you sniffing around this museum all the time?
I don't think he knew, to be honest. And even if he did, there's nothing he could have done about it. He has no right to this building. He knows that. We both know that.
Why not? It was part of his tourist attraction, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't. I have no interest in some... You're wasting your...
What can you tell me about these designs for a costume? A Boggy costume.
It's Boggy! I must admit, I've been a fan of his before I ever came to the swamp.
A fan? So you're interested in cryptozoology?
Oh, no, I meant, well, Boggy has been in all kinds of cartoons and comic strips. He's one of the greatest characters of the last 100 years. I've got some comics in my tent. You really should see.
But he was only discovered 60 years ago.
Oh, that's true. Well, I rounded up.
But what about his costume? Have you seen anyone wearing it?
I can honestly say I've never seen anyone wearing anything like that. And I'm a very observant person.
So what did Mr. Remington think of you? I mean, protesting in the middle of a swamp every day.
It wasn't his swamp. If he ever truly thought it was, then he was even more of a fool than he seemed.
But he didn't like you hanging around, right?
That man was exceptionally skilled at ignoring me, ignoring anything he didn't like.
So, what, he just left you alone?
He expected me to get bored and go home. He figured I'd get sick of this place and he'd have it back to himself.
But he didn't want it to himself, did he? He wanted lots of people to come visit all the time, surely.
I'm sure it says that in the brochure. Yes. Why are you carrying that around with you?
I have a suspicion it may have been the murder weapon.
Really? I thought Remington was attacked by something with claws, wasn't he? Show it to somebody else. No thanks, my friend. I'm afraid I have no idea.
Looks like this path leads towards the northwest corner of Boggy's Bog. I can't wait. I'm impressed someone managed to pitch a tent here, and I'm impressed someone would want to. It's Echo's tent. It's a colorful, boggy-themed padlock. He's staring into my soul. It should open if I set the right number. It's a color. It's Echo's tent. I think he's been here for a while. Looks like this path.
Try and solve every suspect's challenge topic. If you're struggling, don't forget to present profiles and clues to people who might be interested. Oh, and hurry up. It's cold in this boat.
Not suspicious. Not suspicious. Not suspicious. It's a humble a Boggy's Bog mug. Maybe I'll get one and surprise Officer James for Christmas.